Hi, folks! The Filipina P here. And it looks like you guys have just about given up on trying to find good Western women to the point where you're not even looking anymore. Even at a singles event where the ladies are there for the sole purpose of meeting available men, you guys don't even show up.
Okay, so I recently went to a singles event and it was 90% women. And I was wondering, where's all the dudes? And there's a lot more girls than guys. So that's weird. I don't know, it just doesn't really make any sense. But there's so many girls here, everyone's so pretty.
I've never been in a room with that many single people, even beautiful women, all types, shapes, and sizes. Where are the men?
So why aren't you guys interested? Are modern women not giving you what you want? I admit they look kind of high maintenance, but don't they at least know how you want to be treated? Or maybe they just don't care. In your part of the world, a man spends his whole life being told how to treat a woman, and a woman spends her whole life hearing how she deserves to be treated by a man. But very little attention gets paid to what he needs. Things have become so one-sided that it's no surprise that Western men have come to the conclusion that the only way to win is not to play. Well, I'm not saying that we Filipinas are the answer, but we are taught a very different philosophy about how to treat a man and how to please a man. And today, I'm gonna tell you what it is. Do Filipinas actually know the secret to keeping you happy? Over the past 6 years, my mission has always been to explain the differences in our cultures so you can decide whether the Philippines is a good fit for what you want out of life. And in the process, I brought a lot of couples together. I've also talked to thousands of Western men about what they're hoping to find in a woman. So today, I'm going to compare what you guys say you want with what most Filipinas actually give you. And I'll be brutally honest about whether we get it right or get it wrong. Let's start with the topic of sex. The only thing most women ever hear is about keeping a man's stomach full and his balls empty, which is actually great advice. Now, Western women totally forget about keeping a man's stomach full, whereas Filipinas keep you well fed. But women all over the world understand that one of the keys to a man's happiness lies just beyond the bedroom door. The thing is, we have totally different strategies once we get in there. For a Western woman, it's more of a quid pro quo. You do something for me, and then I'll let you do something to me. They often have a lot more experience and know a few tricks. And you worry that in order to get a passing grade, you better know a few tricks too. If you don't know what you're doing in there, they might call you out on it. Filipinas are a little different. We're willing to meet you in the bedroom, but we don't really know what to do once we get in there. And we certainly don't know many magic tricks. We'll let you direct all the action, and even if we like the way it feels, most of us don't expect a big payoff at the end. In fact, you'd be amazed how many Filipinas have never even had a big O, not even once. A lot of us aren't used to having attentive lovers, so even just a little effort on your part can make a huge difference in the way we think about physical intimacy. But even though most women understand that a man needs sex, we still don't have a clue how important it is to keep you happy in that department. And not just at the beginning of a relationship, but all the way through it. The biggest mistake women make is that we act one way before marriage and another way once we get the paperwork. It's like we put on a show, and once we get what we want, we don't have to keep up the performance. But that's a really bad idea. To all my female viewers, all three of you, can you imagine how you'd feel if your husband thought that way? What if he said, well, since we're married now, I guess I can quit my job, right? No, you cannot. Well, the same thing is true with sex. For a man, there's no particular expiration date stamped onto his equipment, and he expects to enjoy using it until further notice. It seems like once Western women lose interest in sex, they try to gaslight you into believing you need to accept it. That changes like this are natural and you should just deal with it. Well, I'm afraid even Filipinas get a failing grade there too, but for a completely different reason. It's not that we're tricking you or getting lazy or losing interest. It's actually another cultural thing. In our society, we believe that after your children are grown and you're not planning to have any more, sex loses its purpose, and the thought of a 50-year-old woman having intercourse for fun is kind of icky and weird and pointless. Married Filipinos are supposed to become asexual as soon as we stop popping out kids. We know that our men still get horny, but there's an unspoken agreement that a man just has to take care of his own needs at that point, which is one reason why there's so much cheating and broken relationships in the Philippines. So, for the good of couples everywhere, whether they're Western or Filipino, whether the women are just getting lazy or whether it's cultural, I have a solution that will keep everyone perfectly happy, and it's ridiculously easy. Now, those of you that watch my channel might know what I'm about to say because I've said it before, but I strongly recommend giving your man an orgasm every single day of his life by whatever means necessary. It only takes a few minutes, it's fun, and he'll never even think of straying. Now, fulfilling sex life is crucial to a healthy relationship. But let's be honest, sometimes a woman's just not in the mood as often as her man is. But that's still no reason not to take a few minutes to pop the cork. And for those women out there who are thinking this sounds like a lot of work, I say you're being selfish and petty. Don't you spend 15 minutes a day putting on makeup and lipstick just to look good for your man? Well, unless you're actually spending that time to keep yourself happy about your reflection in the mirror, why not take that time to really make your man happy? Put down the lipstick and put those lips to good use. I guarantee he'll become the most laid-back guy in the neighborhood, and you'll save money on protein shakes. And in case you're one of those women that was only pretending to enjoy giving oral pleasure just long enough to get a ring on your finger, well, first, shame on you. But there's still a solution. Like I said in another video, just grab a bottle of Jerkins lotion and tell him to relax for a minute. In the time it takes to make some gravy, you'll have made the gravy. And as a guy gets older, it's even more important to do that every day. It not only keeps a man happy and faithful, but it reduces the chance of prostate cancer by 30%. So what excuse could you possibly have? Isn't he worth the time it takes to brush your teeth? You're saving a man's life here, so get going. Now, while we're still on the subject of sex, let me mention one last thing that women don't seem to take into consideration. Every man has his thing, something in particular that excites him and turns him on. And a woman needs to find out what the thing is before they marry, to be sure it's something you're both okay with. Because if you're not a willing participant, he's probably gonna find someone who is. Now, Filipinas are pretty bad at figuring out a man's fantasies. It's not something we usually talk about. But the good news is, we're really agreeable about saying yes to things. So don't be afraid to tell your Filipina what keeps you up at night. Even if you think it's weird, we can probably deal with it just fine. Unless you want us to dress like a furry. The Philippines is way too hot for furries. But of course, there's a lot more to keeping a man happy besides sex. So how do Filipinas stock up in other departments? Well, guys often tell me that it's the little things that are the most important. You don't care so much about getting birthday presents or Valentine cards. You're much happier when she remembers how you like the meat in your beef stew, cut into little pieces, or how she avoids rubbing your left shoulder because that's the one you hurt while fixing the car. I can definitely say it's here that Filipinas really shine because it's in our DNA to care for you like that. And most of you guys say you've never felt that level of attentiveness from any other woman in your life. Filipinas don't pamper you like that because we remember to, like it's some kind of chore. We do it instinctively because we want to. Now, there are plenty of Western women who'll treat you well. But you guys out there with Filipino partners know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to the level of care you get with us. And what about the subject of money? Well, men hate spending money, but they love earning it and bringing it home. Women are usually the opposite. We get a thrill from spending money and knowing that more is available. But although every woman is gonna cost you, Filipinos are gonna cost you a lot less, even if you're helping her family. That's because we don't need 23 different brands of shampoo and an extra closet full of clothing we'll never wear. Filipinos are usually very frugal, and we always look for the best deals. We're the ones that refuse to throw away a tube of toothpaste until we literally stand on it to get the last bit out. Over the course of years, a good Filipina can actually save you money. So what else are men really looking for? Well, I keep hearing the same 5 things from almost every man I talk to. So I know these are really important cornerstones that are at the very foundation of a man's happiness. Respect, loyalty, companionship, honesty, and peace. Filipinos are really good with some of these, but not so great with others. And yes, I'm gonna be generalizing. So your Filipino partner might be nothing like what I'm about to describe, but most of us will be. First, there's respect. A man wants to feel like he's not only wanted, but that he's needed, and that his contributions are appreciated. When he speaks, he wants to be heard and not have his ideas dismissed out of hand. Now, if you tell that to a Western woman, there's a good chance it's gonna make her skin crawl, and she'll quickly remind you that she's just as important and her voice carries just as much weight. And that's fine. No one said she wasn't important. But a Filipino won't react that way. She'll just be happy she has you on her side. Which brings me to companionship instead of competition. Western women often want to compete with you over every single little thing. It's been drilled into their heads that they can do anything a man can, and it's their duty to remind you of that fact every chance they get. A Filipino doesn't feel that way. We don't have to one-up you all the time. We're just happy to be with you and spend as much time together as possible. Unlike the women in the West, Filipinas don't do the girls' night out thing. Why would I want to go to a bar and get hit on by strangers? That doesn't sound fulfilling at all. I'd be perfectly happy just cuddled up together on the couch. That might sound kind of boring, but to a lot of guys, that's what companionship is all about. And Filipinos are great at it. Even after years together, we still want to hold your hand at the mall and go with you to get your hair cut. As far as being loyal, there are good women and bad women in every society, but I'd say that overall, Filipinos are pretty darn loyal, especially if we think you're not about to dump us. A lot of women where you live seem to always be weighing their options and looking for bigger fish, but Filipinos are usually proud of who we've got, instead of looking for the next branch to swing to. All women are hypergamous by nature, but in practice, Western women run circles around Filipinas. When we find someone worth holding on to, we hang on for dear life. Next, we get to honesty. And here's where Filipinas have a big problem. But again, it's for cultural reasons. The Western concept of honesty is really simple. If you purposely say something that's not 100% true, then it's a lie, and almost all lies are bad. In Filipino culture, it's acceptable to say something that's not true if it protects your reputation, what's known as your face. Now, I know it sounds crazy and it often turns into an excuse for all kinds of lies, which is why Western folks don't trust what we say, and I don't blame you. The honesty thing is one of the biggest problems you guys have with Filipinas, and I even made a whole video about it. But the only way to fix it is to have a serious conversation about how you expect the complete truth and nothing but the truth. Explain that it's a relationship deal breaker for you and 3 strikes and she's out. If she has half a brain, she'll take you seriously. And finally, we get to the number one need of all. It's what you guys say you're looking for more than looks or sex or money. And that's peace. If we asked 100 women what a man wants more than anything, I bet not a single person would say peace. But there you have it. At the core of his life, a man craves an oasis of reliable calm in his world. And if he's with you, he needs you to protect and nurture that calm, to become the calm. To a man, the outside world is a jungle of danger, of competition, of chaos. It's his duty to deal with it all. But when he comes home, the one thing he wants is peace. No drama, no yelling, just someone to support him and have his back. A soft place to land. Now, even though Filipinas can be real drama queens, we also know when to be quiet. It's an Asian thing. But we can sense when you want to just be. Chances are, we've been in the kitchen, and the highlight of our day is the look in your face when you taste the meal we made for you. No drama required. After you finish eating, we'll put away the dishes and curl up next to you on the couch to watch whatever your heart desires. If that's not the definition of peace, then I don't know what is. If you make a man feel like he's your hero, then he'll do his best to be one. And that's all a Filipino really wants. Well, that's it for this episode, and I'll see you next Friday with something new. If you want to hang out with me before then, check out my Patreon page where we discuss all things Filipino in the chat rooms, and you can watch my exclusive videos and features that you won't see anywhere else. Till then, folks. If you think about it, I'm kind of like your massage therapist, helping you relieve all the stress and worries about life in a new country, and making sure to hit all the trigger points of local culture and costumes. The only thing I ask for my service is that you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you're not late for our next session. And please consider becoming a patron so you can see all the extra content and exclusive videos on my Patreon page. And while you're waiting for our next appointment, feel free to check out my other videos too. So, are you ready for your massage? I promise I won't rub you the wrong way. Unless you ask me to.